new set of tires. We gotta change them, but first things first, we gotta. Okay, welcome back. Welcome back. We have 4 new sets of tires. Have to go on the MX-5. It's hot. They're heavy. Not that heavy, I'm not gonna lie, but we need the tools, and we're gonna go step by step on how to change a set of tires on pretty much any car, but this one specifically is an MX-5. Alright, I actually decided to move the car into the garage. It's extremely hot outside, and it's more level in here, so I'm sure there's going to be no problems. Car's in the garage, everything's fine. The tires are still outside, so I should probably move them in before they get too hot. Now, I'm just going to grab the tools, grab the jack, and we're going to go step by step on this. We have 2 different sockets. One has only 6 sides, and then the other one has 12. Now, they're for 2 different reasons. One is the exact amount of sides that the one on the car has, so that it has more surface area to grab, and there's no chance of stripping the bolt. This is the one that you want to break the bolt with, as in loosening it and fully getting it off. Because this one, what might happen is the bolt is so stuck on there that when you put so much force, it'll just strip the bolt on the edges, and it'll make it so much harder to actually get off. So I'm going to start off by, before actually lifting the car, you need to slightly loosen the bolts, because if you lift the car and then put all that force that you need to break the bolts, it might push down the jack, it might move the car, and it might fall. It's better to loosen the bolts first, not take them off. Loosen the bolts first, then lift the car, then take the bolts out, switch the tire, put the bolts back in, lower the car, tighten. Okay, here we are. It's just you go a little until you hear it move, and then you're done. You want to make sure that it's fully in. You don't want it to feel like it's in, but then it's still out, and you don't want it to be scratching the rim. And what I'm noticing actually is that this one does scratch the rim. But if I take it out and put a different one in, this one actually fits in better. So I'm going to use this one to loosen it without scratching the rim. All the bolts are now loosened, and you might notice, it might be too sped up, you might notice that some of them I pushed back in, because maybe it was so stuck on there that I held it for too long and almost the whole bolt came out, which you don't want. So it came out, I pushed it back in right before it got stuck again. Now all that's left, lift the car, undo the bolts, put the new tire on. The jack's in place, but the biggest problem with the jack is that if you were to put the jack on this plastic, when you would lift it up, the weight of the car would be more than the force, and the plastic would just deform. There's a special bar that runs across under it, where you might look and see this square hole, which is a square hole and then a bar that runs right behind it. The bar that runs right behind it is where you want to put the jack. That bar is specially made so that you can lift the whole car up without needing to destroy the plastic. Now we have these things, which all they really do is they go under the car on that same bar on both sides. And all they do is that if this jack were to fail, these catch the car before either it hits the ground too hard without a tire or it hits me. So these are a safety measure that you put on that bar. When you put these on, they might be too tall. That does mean that you're going to need to lift the car up. Specifically for this one, the front side comes up before the back side. So not only am I going to need to lift it up a little to get the front side to sit, but I'm going to need to lift up more for the back side to sit. Now what you're seeing that I'm doing is I'm taking the bar out of the jack and I'm going to ever so slightly lower the car. Now you saw that. I lowered the car and it hit the safety measures. What you want to do is once it hits the safety measures, pump it once or twice. Make sure that it's not too high above the safety measures, because that's what, if it's too high, then it might like hit and the safety slips. So you let the car fall into the safeties, not only to make sure that they're actually put in the right spot, but you also lift the car back up so that it's actually on the jack, which is the main thing. Now, we're going to take the bolts off. And when the bolts come off, the most important thing about taking the tire off is that you want to pull it straight. You don't want to pull it angled, you don't want to pull it down, because the most important part that you're going to see is the things that hold the bolt. And if those are bent, scratched, or really anything that happens to them, you're going to have a much harder time taking on and putting off for the rest of the time. Okay, now that the tire's off, these brakes were just changed, so I don't have to check them. Since the tire's off, you want to be checking the brakes, especially since it's been a very long time since you've checked them, because they might be warped, worn, just maybe like they don't have any more, but the most important part are these, that you can see them. This is what I was talking about. These are the threads that hold the tire there, and if they're bent, the tire doesn't go on straight. If they're scratched, the bolt might not screw in all the way. These are fine. I did check them, but now we got to put the new tire on. And the new tire on, you want to put it the exact same way. You just want to go straight. This is the new tire. Maybe you can tell the difference. They're very much less worn. Those are race tires. They're just coming from race day on the weekend. And these, what I noticed, which I never knew before, are heavier. They must be a different thing, but they are different rims as well. So they're just a different material, but they are heavier. And yeah, they go on the same way you took them off. You just want to make sure of something. You want to sit down and really get sideways with the car, like this. Put the tire as close as possible. And what you want to do is use your legs as balancers. See how now the tire isn't rolling, because my legs are holding it together. You want to grab it from here. I'm grabbing it from two different spokes. And you want to lift, but without it going like that, because then the tire goes on bad. Sometimes what's easier is, instead of grabbing two horizontal ones, grab one horizontal one and one up here, so that when you lift, you can hold it. So what I'm going to do is look at the threads. These threads have one up here, one down here. What I'm looking at right now is two here. So I'm going to just rotate the tire, make sure it's aligned the way I want it. These happen to be a little twisted, so I'm going to twist this one. Now what you want to do, lift it and find the top one. Once you find that top one, it slides in for the rest of them. Now, you might be able to see it better than I can, but looking at it straight, this tire might be might look good. But if you can hear it, there, it locked. You might need to move it a little bit more than you think, because until this tire is in the right spot, it's just going to keep moving. Right there, for me, is the right spot. I go like this, and it only rocks backwards. So I want to keep it here. That's another reason why my legs are holding the tire. As long as my legs hold the tire, I know this isn't going to move. Now, I'm going to grab my thing, grab the bolt, but before anything, you want to screw the bolt in with your hand. This not only helps you make sure that it's aligned, but it also stops you from misaligning the bolt. Because what might happen is you put the bolt on, you screw it in a little with your hand, and then you're like, okay, it's time to use the machine. But what happens is the bolt's actually a little tilted, and you put as much force as you can with this machine, and it's just gonna shred the threads, which is not fun, because then you're gonna need to take out the tire, the brake. You're gonna need to get to the original thread and replace it. Now, what you might have noticed was that I started on the top one. Instead of going to the right or to the left, I actually went cross. This also makes sure that the tire is aligned. Without doing that, you're never gonna be certain that it's perfectly aligned. Now that I'm at the bottom one, this one only happens to have 4, so it's easy. I can either go left or right. Some that have 6, you might go down, and then instead of going to these bottom 2 or these 2, you go to one of the ones up here. So you go top, bottom, either left top or right top. And then after, if you pick right top, you go left bottom. And then right middle, bottom, top left. And then that's making sure that you're doing it crisscross and that it's always going to be straight. Now, you want to make sure that it's spinning the right way, which for me is that way. Because since I just screwed it in with my hand, and that took a second, I don't want to have to do it again. Make sure you're spinning it the right way. So I'm going to do the same thing. These are aligned well. And they're aligned because if I go like that, not only does the tire not move, there's no noise. And I'm certain of it, which you need to be certain of it before actually getting on the road, because then it can just be dangerous not only for you, but for people around you. Same thing for the back tires. All the bolts are out. Now, same thing, but just a different angle. Put your bolts to your side, make sure you're not losing those or damaging them. You're gonna put your legs, make sure it's straight, grab it, and just pull straight out that way. And then once you're done, you can stand up, roll it, get the next tire. Same thing as before. Put it on, you make sure it's locked, and you tighten them. And the tire's good. Next step is to take out the safety measures and slowly lower the jack until the car is perfectly on the ground. Now that the car's on the ground, you gotta check them. And after that, all you do is move on to the next one and lift the car. Check the safeties, pump it up 1 or 2 times, and take out the tires. Take out the safeties and lower the car slowly. Once you're finally done replacing the tires, there's one last thing left to do. You check the tire pressure. But after checking the tire pressure, then there's one last thing to do. All that's left is to go for a joyride. And once that joyride is over, you cover the car back up and you wait till your dad lets you drive it again. But thank you so much for watching, and have a nice time changing your tires.